The Earling possessions, the town that fought the devil in 1928, a 4-month exorcism didn't just terrorize one woman, it infected an entire Iowa community with supernatural darkness. Winter descends hard on the farmlands of western Iowa, where the small town of Earling sits, tucked among rolling fields and sparse timber. In 1928, the town numbers fewer than 500 souls, most of them Catholic, most of them German immigrants or their children. The parish of St. Joseph anchors the community's spiritual life, and beside it stands a modest Franciscan convent where a handful of sisters live in prayer and service. By all accounts, Earling is unremarkable, a quiet place where neighbors know one another and the rhythms of farm life dictate the passage of time. But in the autumn of that year, something arrives in Earling that transforms the town into the site of one of the most extensively documented spiritual battles in American history. The woman arrives in late August. Her name is Emma Schmidt, though in all official documentation she will be known only as Anna Eklund to protect her identity. She is middle-aged, frail, and accompanied by Father Theophilus Riesinger, a Capuchin priest with decades of experience in exorcism. Father Riesinger has been working with Emma for years, and her condition has deteriorated to the point that a full ritual exorcism is now unavoidable. He has contacted Father Joseph Steiger, the parish priest of St. Joseph in Earling, requesting permission to conduct the exorcism at the convent. Father Steiger agrees, though not without hesitation. He understands the gravity of what is being asked. He does not yet understand the cost. The Franciscan sisters prepare a room for Emma on the upper floor of the convent. They are told only that she is a woman in spiritual distress who requires seclusion and intensive prayer. The sisters are devoted women, accustomed to hardship and sacrifice. They agree to provide care and support during what they assume will be a difficult but temporary arrangement. Within days of Emma's arrival, the atmosphere of the convent begins to change. The first reports come from the sisters whose rooms are nearest to Emma's. They hear sounds through the walls, not the weeping or groaning one might expect from a woman in distress, but voices. Multiple voices, deep, guttural, speaking in tones no woman's throat should produce. The voices speak in languages the sisters do not recognize, and sometimes in English, uttering obscenities and blasphemies that leave the listeners shaken. The sisters report these phenomena to their Mother Superior, who relays the information to Father Riesinger. He is not surprised. He has heard these voices before. What concerns him more are the other reports beginning to surface. One sister, a young woman assigned to bring Emma meals and monitor her condition, begins experiencing episodes of profound dread that descend without warning. She describes it as a weight pressing down on her chest, an overwhelming certainty that something malevolent is watching her. These episodes occur not only when she is near Emma's room, but at other times throughout the day and night. She finds herself unable to pray without distraction, her mind flooded with intrusive and disturbing imagery. She does not report this initially out of shame and confusion. Only when another sister confesses to similar experiences does the pattern become clear. The nightmares begin in the second week. Multiple sisters, sleeping in different rooms, report nearly identical dreams. They see figures in shadow, contorted and hostile. They hear voices calling their names. They wake in the night feeling as though someone has been standing over their beds. The dreams are vivid and persistent, recurring night after night with a consistency that cannot be dismissed as coincidence. The sisters begin to dread sleep. They gather for extra prayers in the chapel, seeking relief through devotion, but the disturbances continue. Father Riesinger has been conducting the ritual of exorcism in Emma's room for weeks now, assisted by Father Steiger and attended by selected sisters who can endure the ordeal. The sessions are harrowing. Emma levitates from the bed, her body rigid and suspended in the air. The voices that emerge from her are multiple and distinct, claiming to be various demonic entities that have taken residence in her. The stench that fills the room during these sessions is unbearable. Witnesses describe it as the smell of decay, of rotting flesh, of something fundamentally wrong. The smell seeps through the convent, lingering in hallways and rooms far from the exorcism site. The sisters burn incense and open windows, but the odor persists. Father Steiger, who has agreed to host this exorcism out of pastoral duty, finds his own life disrupted in unexpected ways. His sister comes to visit him in October, intending to stay for a week. Within 2 days, she is overcome with anxiety and a sense of oppressive dread she cannot explain. She cuts her visit short and departs Earling abruptly. The moment she crosses the town line, the feeling lifts. She later tells her brother that she felt as though something in Earling did not want her there, something that pressed against her mind with tangible force. The automobile accident occurs in early November. Father Steiger is driving his car along a rural road outside Earling, returning from a visit to a parishioner. The road is dry, visibility is good, and he is driving at moderate speed. Without warning, the car veers sharply to the right and leaves the road, crashing into a drainage ditch. Father Steiger sustains injuries to his shoulder and ribs. When the vehicle is examined, no mechanical failure can be identified. The steering and brakes are intact. Father Steiger, a practical man not given to superstition, tells Father Riesinger that he believes the accident was no accident. He believes he was attacked. Father Riesinger takes these reports seriously because he has encountered this phenomenon before, though rarely with such intensity. He explains to Father Steiger and the Mother Superior of the convent that severe cases of possession do not exist in isolation. The entities involved are not passive. They are aware of their surroundings and capable of exerting influence beyond the body they inhabit. In Emma's case, the possession is of such severity and duration that it has created what he describes as a spiritual contamination of the environment. Those in close proximity, particularly those involved in the effort to expel the demons, become targets. The attacks are designed to weaken resolve, to create fear, to isolate the possessed person by driving away those who might offer help. The sisters most affected by the secondary phenomena are given specific instructions. Father Riesinger blesses them individually and prescribes prayers of protection to be recited throughout the day. He blesses the entire convent repeatedly, moving through each room with holy water and incense, invoking the protection of Saint Michael the Archangel. He instructs Father Steiger to do the same at the rectory. The rituals provide some relief, but the presence remains. The community of Earling is locked in a spiritual siege, and there is no certainty when it will end. The exorcism continues through November and into December. Emma's condition fluctuates wildly. There are days when she seems lucid and at peace, and days when the entities within her rage with such force that multiple men are required to hold her down on the bed. The voices claim identities: the spirit of Emma's father, who allegedly abused her and cursed her before he passed away, and the spirit of a woman named Mina, who was involved with Emma's father and who allegedly practiced malevolent rituals against Emma. The entities boast of their power and mock the priests conducting the exorcism. They claim they will never leave, but Father Riesinger is relentless. He has performed this sacred work for decades, and he does not yield to threats or theatrical displays. He continues the ritual day after day, invoking the authority of the Church and the name of Christ. The community supports him through prayer, even as they endure the unseen weight of the struggle unfolding in their midst. The sisters, despite their fear and exhaustion, continue to care for Emma. Father Steiger, despite his injuries, continues to assist in the exorcism sessions. The people of Earling, many of whom can hear the unearthly sounds emanating from the convent at night, continue to pray for deliverance. On December 23, 1928, the siege ends. During a final exorcism session, Emma's body convulses violently and then falls still. The voices cease. The oppressive atmosphere that has hung over the convent for 4 months dissipates in an instant. The sisters describe it as a physical sensation, like a heavy blanket being lifted. Emma opens her eyes, fully conscious and herself for the first time in months. She weeps with relief and gratitude. Father Riesinger blesses her and declares her delivered. The demons are gone. The change in the convent is immediate and undeniable. The nightmares stop. The sense of dread that has plagued certain sisters vanishes. The strange sounds and smells that have permeated the building are gone. The sisters gather in the chapel to give thanks, and their prayers are no longer interrupted by intrusive thoughts or oppressive fear. Father Steiger reports the same transformation at the rectory. The atmosphere of Earling itself seems lighter, as though a storm has passed and the sun has returned. Emma Schmidt departs Earling shortly after her deliverance, returning to her home to rebuild her life. She lives quietly for many years thereafter, free of the torment that once consumed her. Father Riesinger documents the case in a pamphlet published by a Catholic press, detailing not only Emma's ordeal, but also the secondary effects experienced by those around her. The account is widely circulated and becomes one of the most important pieces of evidence in the study of exorcism and possession within the Catholic tradition. The sisters of the Earling convent leave their own testimonies, recorded in letters and journals that survive to this day. They describe the 4 months as a test of faith, unlike anything they had imagined when they took their vows. They speak of the courage required to remain in the building when every instinct urged them to flee. They describe the relief of deliverance not only for Emma, but for themselves, as though they too had been held in invisible bondage. Modern researchers and exorcists continue to study the Earling case not only for its dramatic primary possession, but for the documented secondary effects that accompanied it. The phenomenon of spiritual contamination, the targeting of those who assist in deliverance, and the atmospheric changes reported by multiple witnesses provide a compelling case for the reality of demonic influence as understood within traditional Christian theology. Father Riesinger's documentation is meticulous, and the corroborating accounts from priests, nuns, and lay witnesses lend the case a credibility that few others possess. The convent building still stands in Earling, though it no longer houses a religious community. The town remains small and quiet, its fields and roads largely unchanged from a century ago. But those who know the history understand that Earling was once the site of a battle that extended beyond one woman's body and touched an entire community. The people of Earling stood firm in the face of an unseen enemy, and their faith carried them through. The story of the Earling possessions is not only the story of Emma Schmidt's deliverance, but the story of a community that fought alongside her and bore the cost of proximity to darkness. If you found this case compelling, subscribe to Vanishing Roads for more documented paranormal investigations from around the world. This story was created with AI assistance based on documented case files. All events reference real investigations and reported incidents.